The right field corner, hit well, and it's gone! Charlie Mancy in opposite field. Right field corner home run. Indiana wins its first ever baseball championship in the WPIAL.
Airs 2-2. Swing and a miss. Record tying. Perfect game. Zach Hare wins it for the Panthers.
Watch live and archived games. Read about the teams and players. Relive the big moments. Every season, the TribLive High School Sports Network is your home for high school sports. The best seat in the house is on Trib HSSN.
Welcome to the WPIAL Playoff Pairing Show for baseball here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Our show here today presented by Edgar Snyder and Associates, helping injured people since 1982. Go local. Go with Edgar Snyder. If you need help, edgarsnyder.com. Fresh off the printer, look what I have. It's brackets. I'm going to unveil them right now. Oh, they've been out for 3 hours? Huh. Oh, okay. Oh, well. Well, goodbye, everybody. No. We are here to do a job. Thank you, WPIAL. By the way, at least they got the brackets looking good instead of the kindergarten finger paint brackets of basketball. But so 78 teams. I think one more or one fewer than last year, the playing field. Let's give some love first, like we did yesterday with softball. Love to the section champions. 6A Section 1, Butler, your outright champions. Cannon McMillan and Norwin are co-champions in Section 2. Class 5A, Penn Trafford beats out both Latrobe and Plum to win the Section 1 title outright. Moon, your Section 2 champions. Pine Richland winners in Section 3. Thomas Jefferson captures the Section 4, Section 4 5A championship. Class 4A. Beaver, your winner in Section 1. Elizabeth Forward in Section 2. Indiana and Valley are your co-champions in Section 3. Class 3A. Elwood City and Mohawk are co-champions in Section 1. Avonworth outright champs in Section 2. Freeport wins Section 3. And Seton LaSalle, by 4 games, captures the Section 4 3A championship. Fort Cherry is your Section 1 2A champion as we move down to Class 2A. Section 2 winners, Laurel and Neshannock are co-champs. Section 3, Southside, is the outright champion. Class A, Section 1, Greensburg Central Catholic wins by 4 games, the Section 1 crown. Western Beaver, your champions of Section 2, and Eden Christian Academy wins Section 3. So congratulations to all of those teams, their coaches, and the players as they prepare for a championship. And if nothing else, if they don't come away with district gold or district silver, they'll always have that section title on a banner somewhere in the gym or at the field that they can always come back and check out 5, 10, 20 years from now. It's a lasting legacy. All right, let's break them down for you. The brackets in Class 6A, no first round games. They go right into the quarterfinals because there's only 8 teams in the playoff field. Number 1 seed is Butler, the Section 1 champions, rightly so, 17-3, really strong finish for the Golden Tornado. They will take on the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. Mount Lebanon finished tied for third place in Section 2 with Hempfield with a record of 12-7. Mount Lebanon Butler, these quarterfinal games are Monday, a week from Monday. So you're talking Monday, May 18th. Blue Devils and Golden Tornadoes, 7 o'clock, prime time at North Allegheny High School. Fourth seed is the Norwin Knights, co-champions in Section 2 with Cannon McMillan. They will take on Central Catholic. The Vikings finished in a tie for third place with Seneca Valley in Section 1. Vikings and Knights, Monday, May 18th, 7 p.m. at Gateway High School. Number 2 seed is Cannon McMillan. Got off to a great start, cooled off a little bit, finished 4-4 in their last 8. But nonetheless, co-champions of Section 2. Big Macs will take on number 7 Seneca Valley. The Raiders finished tied with Central Catholic for third place in Section 1. Raiders and Big Macs at Boyce Mayview in Upper St. Clair Monday at 4 p.m. And then the second game of that Boyce Mayview doubleheader in USC is number 3 North Allegheny, second place team in Section 1 with a record of 12-7, taking on the Hempfield Spartans. Hempfield tied for third place with Mount Lebanon at 10-10. Hempfield, North Allegheny, that's the 7 p.m. game on Monday, the 18th at Upper St. Clair High School. All right, let's go to Class 5A now. The number 1 seed, there's a debate as far as who to number 1. 4 strong section champions with Penn Trafford, Moon, Pine Richland, and Thomas Jefferson. But Pine Richland gets the nod. Champions of Section 3 is the number 1 seed, 14-5 record. 4 of those 5 losses, by the way, came against 6A competition. Pine Richland will be taking on the 16th seed, the Connellsville Falcons. Connellsville out of Section 4 finished in 4th place ahead of Gateway. They had a series with Gateway late to determine 4th place, swept the Gators, and get into the playoffs as the 16th seed, Connellsville against Pine Richland. These first-round games in 5A will be this upcoming Tuesday, May 12th. Rams and Falcons will be at Gateway High School on Tuesday at 6:30. The number 8 seed is the Montour Spartans. They finished a game out of first place in Section 3, 1 game behind out of Section 4, 1 game behind Thomas Jefferson. Spartans will battle the number 9 seed, the West Allegheny Indians. So this is a battle of the 2 runners-up in Section 3 and Section 4 in the 8-9 game. Boyce Mayview, Tuesday, 6:30 in Upper St. Clair for the Spartans and the Indians. Should be a good one there. 4th seed is the Moon Tigers, champions of Section 2. They will take on the 13th seed, the Baldwin Highlanders. They finished in 3rd place out of Section 4. That game at Joe Mays Field, Peterswood Park, Tuesday, 6:30 in Peters Township for the Highlanders and the Tigers. Upper St. Clair, the Panthers into the playoffs after sweeping Chartiers Valley to finish in a tie for 4th place, or actually a tie for 3rd place. Bethel Park, Peters Township, Upper St. Clair in Section 2. Tiebreaker went to Bethel Park, 3-1 against the other tied teams, so they finished 3rd. And Upper St. Clair, Peters Township head-to-head, the Panthers swept the Indians, so USC alone in 4th place after all the tiebreakers. They are the 12th seed, and they will take on the number 5 seed, the Plum Mustangs. Plum, along with Latrobe, finished tied for 2nd place in Section 1. That game Tuesday, 4 o'clock at Gateway High School. Bottom of the bracket in 5A baseball, the number 2 seed is the champions of Section 1, the Penn Trafford Warriors. They will take on the 15th seed, the Fox Chapel Foxes. Fox Chapel finished in 4th place in Section 3. Foxes and Warriors Tuesday, 4 o'clock at Plum High School. 7th seed, the Franklin Regional Panthers. They ended up in 4th place, had a shot at 1st place coming into the final week, but were swept by the Penn Trafford Warriors. They finished in 4th place, but still a lot of consideration for Section 1. The fourth-place team gets the 7th seed. They will take on the South Fayette Lions, runners-up in Section 2, behind Moon. Lions and Panthers in a catfight Tuesday, 6:30 at West Mifflin High School. Number 3 seed in 5A, the champions of Section 4, the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars. They will take on the Mars Fighting Planets. Mars finishing strong with a sweep in the final week of the regular season to finish in 3rd place, clinch a playoff berth. They get the 14th seed. Mars against Thomas Jefferson at Boyce Mayview in Upper St. Clair, Tuesday at 4 p.m. And finally, the 6th seed is the Latrobe Wildcats. It's tied for 2nd with Plum in Section 1. Latrobe will take on the Bethel Park Blackhawks, the 3rd place team out of Section 2 after all the tiebreakers, and an 11th seed, as low as they have been under head coach Patrick Zender. Hawks and Cats, Tuesday, 6:30 at Plum High School. 5A will be sending 4 teams to the PIAA playoffs, to the 4 semifinalists. By the way, back to 6A, only 1 team, the champion, will make it to the PIAA playoffs. All right, Class 4A, there were 3 first-round byes. The top 3 seeds are Indiana, defending champs, co-champs in Section 3 with Valley. Valley also gets a bye, but they get the number 3 seed. Number 2 seed goes to Section 2 champion Elizabeth Forward. So the 8-9 matchup, number 8 seed is Knock. They finished in 3rd place, only a game behind Indiana and Valley in Section 3. The Knights will take on the Blackhawk Cougars. Blackhawk had a chance at the Section 1 championship until they were swept by Hopewell this past week, so they fall all the way down to the 9 seed. Blackhawk against Knock Monday, May 11th at 6:30 at Pullman Park in Butler. All 5 of these first-round games in 4A are on Monday. 4th seed, the winner of Knock Blackhawk, by the way, goes on to face Indiana. 4th seed, the Beaver Bobcats. They were the champions of Section 1, a record of 15-5, beating out Hopewell by 1 game, Blackhawk by 2 games. Beaver will take on the 13th seed, Derry Trojans. Derry finished in 4th place in Section 3. Derry against Beaver Monday, 4 o'clock at Deer Lakes High School. 5th seed is the Bell Vernon Leopards. They finished tied with West Mifflin for 2nd place in Section 2. Bell Vernon will take on the 12th seed Hampton Talbots. Hampton into the dance late with a sweep this week of their section series. They will tie Ambridge for 4th place and qualify for the playoffs. Hampton, by virtue of a forfeit win over North Catholic because of an illegal pitcher, gets into the playoffs. Talbots and Leopards Monday, 6:30 at Gateway High School. 7th seed, West Mifflin. The Titans tied for 2nd in Section 2. They will take on the 10th seed, Ambridge Bridgers, who we just talked about, tied for 4th place in Section 1. Ambridge and West Mifflin Monday, 4 o'clock at Gateway High School. The winner moves on to play number 2, Elizabeth Forward, in the quarterfinals. 6th seed is the Hopewell Vikings, runners-up in Section 1, fresh off their sweep of Blackhawk. They will take on the Ringgold Rams, the 4th place team out of Section 2. Ringgold and Hopewell will play Monday, 6:30, Joe Mays Field at Peterswood Park in Peters Township, with the winner moving on in the quarterfinals to play the Valley Vikings. Top 3 teams in 4A baseball qualify for the state playoffs, 2 champions and the winner of the consolation game. Class 3A, interesting bracket. Number 1 seed, the Avonworth Antelopes. Avonworth champions of Section 2, outright champs. On Tuesday, they will take on the 16th seed Waynesburg Central Raiders, who finished in 4th place in Section 4. Raiders and Lopes, Tuesday, 6:30, Ross Memorial Park. That's the W&J baseball complex right next to EQT Park in Washington. Again, 6:30 start for Avonworth against Waynesburg Central. The game before that is the 8-9 matchup. Mount Pleasant, runners-up in Section 3. They are the 8th seed. They will take on the 9th seed. The Charleroi Cougars finished in a tie with Keystone Oaks for second place in Section 4. Charleroi, Mount Pleasant, Tuesday, 4 o'clock at Ross Memorial. 4th seed, the Freeport Yellow Jackets, undefeated up until yesterday. Freeport winners by 4 games in Section 3. They are the 4th seed, and they will take on the Quaker Valley Quakers. Quaker Valley, out of Section 1, finished in 4th place. They made a nice run in the postseason a year ago, all the way to the championship before losing to Riverside. Quaker Valley against Freeport Tuesday, 4 o'clock at Deer Lakes High School. 5th seed, the South Park Eagles, runners-up to Avonworth in Section 2. They will take on, right down the Route 88, the Keystone Oaks Golden Eagles. KO finished tied with Charleroi for second place in Section 4. KO and South Park meeting Tuesday, 4 o'clock, Joe Mays Field at Peterswood Park in Peters Township. 2 seed, the Seton LaSalle Rebels. Sean Trainer back for his, I believe, 17th stint as Rebels head coach. They leads them to the Section 4 title, won by 4 games over Charleroi and Keystone Oaks. Rebels get the number 2 seed, and they will face the South Allegheny Gladiators, the 4th place team out of Section 2. Rebels and Gladiators meet Tuesday, 4 o'clock at West Mifflin High School. 7th seed, the defending champions, the Riverside Panthers. They finished in 3rd place in Section 1. They will take on the Shady Side Academy Bulldogs, who are the 3rd place team out of Section 2. That game Tuesday, 4 o'clock at North Hills High School. Number 3 seed is Elwood City, co-champs in Section 1. The Wolverines will take on the 14th seed Rams of Ligonier Valley. Ligonier Valley tying York for 4th place in Section 3, but they won the head-to-head tiebreaker. So the former District 6 school now headed for the District 7 playoffs. Ligonier Valley, Elwood City, Pullman Park in Butler on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And the other Section 1 co-champion, Mohawk, is the 6th seed. They will take on the Borough Buccaneers, the number 3 team out of Section 3. That game also at Pullman Park in Butler at 6:30. So that quadrant has back-to-back games at Pullman Park in Butler for the Wolverines, Rams, and the Warriors and Buccaneers. Top 4 teams, the 4 semifinalists, onto the state playoffs in Class 3A baseball. Class 2A now, there were 13 teams, so 3 first-round byes. Those byes go to District or Section 1 champion Fort Cherry, Section 2 co-champion Neshannock, and Section 3 outright champion Southside. The 8-9 matchup, California is the 8th seed. They were the runners-up in Section 1. Only 2 losses to Fort Cherry. California will take on defending champion Freedom. The Bulldogs finish in 3rd place in Section 2. That game Monday, as all the first-round matchups in 2A are, Monday, May 11th, 4 p.m. at Joe Mays Field, Peterswood Park in Peters Township for the Trojans. Bulldogs, the winner, into the quarterfinals to take on Fort Cherry, so we could see a 3rd California-Fort Cherry matchup if the Trojans win. Riverview is the number 4 seed. They were in a 3-way tie for 1st place in Section 3 heading into the final week, split their series with Olsh while Southside swept Brentwood. So Riverview gets the 4th seed. They will take on the Fraser Commodores. Fraser, with a late surge, ended up tying Chartiers Houston for 4th place, but they beat the Bucks head-to-head. So they are in, Char Houston out. Fraser against Riverview Monday, 6:30 at West Mifflin High School. 5th seed, the Laurel Spartans, co-champions in Section 2. They get the 5 seed. They will take on the 12th seed Burgettstown Blue Devils, the number 3 team out of Section 1. Monday, the 11th, 6:30 at the Burkett Park in Robinson Township for the Spartans and Blue Devils. Winner of that game will play the winner of the Fraser Riverview contest. Other side of the bracket in 2A, 7th seed, the Apollo Ridge Vikings. Apollo Ridge finished in 4th place in Section 4. They will take on the Shenango Wildcats, the 4th place team out of Section 2, Monday, 7 o'clock at Seneca Valley High School, with the winner advancing to play Neshannock the following Monday, the 16th. Lancers, the number 2 seed, as I mentioned. 6th seed is Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, tied with Riverview for 2nd place in Section 3. Chargers will battle the New Brighton Lions. New Brighton splits with Neshannock to earn a berth into the playoffs. Out of Section 2. The winner of that game, by the way, is at Pullman Park in Butler at 4 p.m. For Neshannock. New Brighton ended up tied with Shenango for 4th place in Section 2. Lions and Chargers, Pullman Park and Butler at 4. The winner advances to play Southside in the quarterfinals. Top 3 teams in 2A make it to the state playoffs, the finalists, and the consolation winner. Finally, in Class A, 4 first-round byes. The top 4 seeds go to the 3 section champs and 1 runner-up. Eden Christian Academy won Section 3 outright by 2 games. They are the number 1 seed. Greensburg Central Catholic, the only undefeated team now with Freeport losing, Section 1 champions. They are the 2 seed. Sarah Catholic, defending champions, always a power. By the way, 25th season that Brian Zarenda's been having a playoff pairings show party. It's playoff pairings party, but I'll throw the show in there. So congratulations to him and the Eagles on their years and decades now of success. Sarah Catholic gets the 3 seed, and Western Beaver, champions of Section 2, they get the 4th seed, all 4 with a first-round bye. Only 4 first-round games. They are all on Monday, May 11th. The 8th seed, the runners-up a year ago, Carmichael's Mighty Mikes. They finished tied for 3rd in Section 1. They are number 8. They will be taking on number 9, Sewickley Academy. Panthers finished tied with Bishop Canavan for 3rd place in Section 3. Panthers and Mighty Mikes, Monday, 4 o'clock at Ross Memorial Park, the W&J Baseball Complex. Winner advances to play top seed Eden Christian Academy a week from Monday. Leechburg Blue Devils are the number 5 seed. They were the runners-up in Section 2 behind Western Beaver. They will be taking on the Bishop Canavan Crusaders, tied for 3rd place with Sewickley Academy in Section 3. Crusaders and Blue Devils, Monday, 4 o'clock at West Mifflin High School. The winner advances to play Western Beaver. 7th seed, the Rockets of Jefferson Morgan. They finished tied with Carmichael's for 3rd place in Section 1. They will battle the Union Scotties, 3rd place team out of Section 2. Union and Jefferson Morgan will be playing at Ross Memorial Park, W&J Baseball Complex, Monday, 6:30, with the winner advancing to play number 2 Greensburg Central Catholic in the quarterfinals. And finally, the Avella Eagles, flying high, 2nd place team in Section 1. They will take on the Crusaders of Aquinas Academy, the 4th place team out of Section 2. Monday, 4 o'clock at the Burkett Complex in Robinson Township for the Eagles and Crusaders, with the winner advancing to play the Sarah Catholic Eagles on Monday, May 18th. Top 4 teams, the 4 semifinalists in Class A, advance to the PIAA postseason. All right, when we return, the Godfather joins us. Bob Bizzuto, Athletic Director at North Allegheny, Chairperson of the WPIAL Baseball Steering Committee. He has all the answers to our many, many queries. He'll join us next. It's the WPIAL Baseball Playoff Pairing Show right here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Adam Goodnack, and I'm a student in Seton Hill University's Wukich School of Nursing. I did my clinical rounds throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and it strengthened my belief in the path that I chose. I could really feel that I was making an impact. The faculty in my coursework at Seton Hill has prepared me to dive right into my field. I've received personalized support and expert guidance. I'm moving forward as a nurse of tomorrow at Seton Hill University.
You're watching the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Again, a reminder, our good friends at Edgar Snyder and Associates, they've been sponsoring us all school year long. They really do care about the community. They care about high school athletics, and we thank them, can't thank them enough. Helping injured people since 1982. Stay local, stay with Edgar Snyder and Associates. EdgarSnyder.com if you need their help. We all hope that you don't, but stuff happens, right? That's what they say. All right, we've run down the brackets. Brackets have been out for a while again, so check them out on our website, WPIAL website, wherever, social media that's being flooded. Let's bring in the man. He chairs the WPIAL Baseball Steering Committee. He oversees the athletic department at North Allegheny High School, and he once went toe-to-toe with Darth Vader. Yes, he is Bob Bizzuto. Robert.
How you doing, Don?
I'm doing well. First, before we start breaking down the brackets, how you feeling?
I feel great. I have to admit that I was listening to your show, and although I'm not very surprised, you did your homework. And it seems like you were in our committee meeting. So, and the numerous phone calls that we made between committee members. I'm very impressed.
I should be on the committee, but that's neither here nor there. That's, we don't want to cross the line between, high-profile administrators and stinking media. We want to keep that line very crystal clear.
As I've told you, Don, you do an amazing job in your staff, and high school athletics is really blessed to have you involved in what we do each and every day.
Oh, I appreciate it. You're like me. You're old school. You walk around with your little yellow tablet, taking notes, working all the time. So kudos to you as well. Let's get started. We'll begin in Class 6A, which is usually a layup because of how few teams there are in the ever shrinking 6A, no matter what sport you're talking about. And before we get into this, I asked Scott Moore this yesterday on the softball show. I know you guys haven't started to discuss realignment and the such, but do you have an inkling that 6A may increase as far as how many teams are in it in the next 2-year cycle?
Yeah, we have talked a little bit about it. We're just waiting for, PIAA with teams moving up and, with the competition standards and all of the stuff. But we are taking a look at 6A, and I hope that it grows.
Yeah.
But even know that we have, a little, small group of teams, the competition is really good.
Yeah.
And as we've talked before, the benefits of playing a series of 3 games really proved to be very helpful in the seeding process, as well as, I think, really interest in each section.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that especially with just how compact things are in 6A, that go into 3, you really don't have to worry about tiebreakers. If teams finish tied, they played each other 3 times, so that'll sort of work itself out in the wash. The one thing I said coming into when I was putting together my bracketology for 6A, I said the committee can go one of 2 ways. They can go old school where you try to pit, Section 2 teams against Section 1 teams, or once you figure out the top 4, you can use, head-to-head as a dynamic to seed the other 4. It looks like you guys went with, let's try to keep them somewhat separate with Section 1 going up against Section 2 in all 4 matchups.
Well, we did. And I did, when we looked at this, with the brackets, I did it both ways, actually, and, provided that to the committee. And what we found is that if we would have done that particular way with the traditional way, we would have had 4 teams playing each other again for a 4th time. And sometimes that's really not appropriate. And in this one, we went with 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, etc. from both sections. But as you know, baseball is a different game compared to anything else, because all of these teams, these 8 teams, have a number 1. And you take a look at the matchups with Butler and Mount Lebanon, that gives you a perfect example. I mean, throw out the records. Everybody's 0-0. Yep. They both have outstanding pitchers, and it's going to be quite a game.
Yeah. Well, you said right from the get-go that it was an exciting year in Class 6A based on the 8 playoff teams. I know Woodland Hills had their struggles. North Hills had their struggles, as you see the brackets there. But the 8 teams that made it, you look at just at the 7 and 8 seed, it would shock nobody, especially with the veteran coaches there, that if Mount Lebanon or Seneca Valley were to win a couple games and end up facing each other in the championship, that legitimately, I don't know you can say this up and down in other tournaments, but legitimately any of these 8 teams could win.
Absolutely. When we actually going through this just for the brackets, we went 1 through 4. And because Canon-Mac and Norwin tied record-wise, but Canon-Mac swept Norwin, that made it very, very simple that way. The other 4 we just matched up because, again, we had 1 versus 4, 1 tie, which was a 2 against 3. So it wouldn't surprise me if Central Catholic went out to the championship. They have a very, very good baseball team.
Yep, they got off to a great start this year, and ended up tied for 3rd in Section 1. Long wait for these teams, though. A long wait. They won't play these quarterfinal games until May 18th. Just for those who don't know, Bob, what can teams who have these first-round byes and are waiting over a week, sometimes it'll be up to 2 weeks before the end of the regular season and the start of the postseason, they are permitted to have scrimmages, correct?
Absolutely. They have unlimited number of scrimmages. They can scrimmage every day if they choose to in preparation for their playoff game. And let me just share this with you, even though that there's a week that's going to be between now and their first game, a little over a week. The bottom line is our goal, our committee, and we've talked about this over the years, because people in some sections have byes, what we have done is to make sure is that we either play 2 rounds next week or 2 rounds the following week. Because what we did not want is that a team that would be able to use one pitcher throughout the tournament. And as you know, going back my many years, we've had opportunities. Some teams had some opportunities to go ahead and use their number 1 all throughout the tournament. Now, if you get rain, there are things that are beyond our control. But what we can do, and we've set this up, is that here that everybody 1 through 5A will play 1 game, then they'll be able to come back the following week. So people that get a bye in their first round game are going to potentially face somebody else's number 1, but every team is going to have to play 2 games the following week.
One thing I noticed different, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's different, is that what you've been doing the last few years is sort of what you just described, is having first round 1 week, quarters and semis back to back for that reason that you just explained about the pitching. This year, it looks like you have given 2 days, that if you're playing your quarterfinal on Tuesday, your semifinals Thursday. If you're playing on Monday, it's Wednesday. Is that a change from going back-to-back days?
It's kind of a necessity due to the number of umpires that we have.
Yeah.
Because again, we're facing with some conferences in college that have postseason play. That's one of the reasons. You know me, I would like to play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I think that's what it's about. Baseball is about series. Baseball is about continued playing. But in this particular case, we have to watch because again, we're using three-person crew. Bottom line, at the end of the day, you have to have a number of officials for each contest. Yeah. So we kind of broke it down. We split it. 1, 2, and 4A are going to go Monday next week, and then 3 and 5A are going to go Tuesday. Then we're going to come back. We'll add 6A to Monday. So there'll be 4 classifications, and then 3 and 5 will go on Tuesday, and then vice versa, like you explained.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, let's go down to Class 5A now, and I don't care what sport you're talking about. With the shrinkage of 6A and so many quality teams in 5A, these 5A tournaments are must-see because there's a lot of depth to them, and this year's baseball tournament is no different. Probably a little bit of a debate for number 1. Pine Richland gets the nod. I'd given them the nod based on partly because they were undefeated section champs. But then Penn Trafford 2, Thomas Jefferson 3, Moon 4. I assume there was a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion for this bracket just because of the depth that of this bracket. How much discussion was there for the top seed?
There's a great deal of discussion even prior to. As we're watching scores and games coming in, and just like you said in your early statements, Pine Richland, of their 5 losses, 4 of them were to 6A. And, being a member of the 6A previously, et cetera, they played their traditional opponents.
Right.
And then the other loss was to Avonworth, who again, has had great success over the years. So that was really kind of the nod. And as you stated, Penn Trafford, Latrobe, and Franklin Regional, those 3, they all had the opportunity of tying. Okay, well, Latrobe, I mean, it was very, very competitive.
Sure.
Down to the last series.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the nod, and it makes the quarterfinals, should these teams win out, makes it very interesting. Yeah. And you take a look at Pine Richland. I mean, you're going to play Connellsville. Connellsville played some teams very, very tough. And you have Montour and West Allegheny in that 8-9 slot. That's not easy. So, and then again, with the potential with Moon and Plum. Take a look with Plum. And St. Clair played well going down the stretch, but yes. You take a look at Plum, you look at their run differential. They gave up, I think the total was right around 36 runs for the year. And I was very impressed. And I know they have a very good pitching staff, and Carl does an outstanding job. So in 5A on that left side of the bracket, it's tough. And you take a look at, Fox Chapel, although that they had some little difficulty during the year, they're going to finish strong. Penn Trafford, that's not an easy game for them. And Franklin Regional, South Fayette. So you see so many traditional teams that are going on.
Yep.
And TJ Mars, you said it, Mars, it was hot down the stretch. And again, that Thomas Jefferson game could be a very, very challenging game for TJ. And then Latrobe Bethel Park. I don't think anybody really would want to play Bethel Park. So, the phrase that we always talk about on any given day it applies here.
Yep.
I mean, this one and I would say 4A all of them are very, very competitive. But you could take a look at 4A, 5A, 6A. I mean, flip a coin.
Yeah. You mentioned the left side of the bracket in 5A. You got 2 champions in Pine, Richland, and Moon. You have 3 runners-up in Montour, West Allegheny, and Plum. Of the 8 teams, 5 finished either first or second. So it really is loaded. And I had mentioned in my article that we put up yesterday, the bracketology article, that Section 1 was special. That was a heck of a race between those 4 Westmoreland County teams. Well, I guess Plum's Allegheny County, but that came down to the wire. Penn Trafford swept Franklin Regional, while Latrobe and Plum split, and that was the difference. I mentioned spreading those out when you have 4 strong teams out of a section, and you guys pretty much did that. You got Penn Trafford in the upper right, Plum in the lower left, Latrobe in the lower right. You do have Franklin Regional possibly meeting Penn Trafford again in the quarters, but that section deserves its flowers, so to speak.
Absolutely. If you take a look at if Penn Trafford and Franklin play, I think that was a 6-0, 2-0, games on the last, this earlier this week. So again, not easy. It's going to be very challenging, and I think a lot of people will be very, very nervous. The butterflies will definitely be appearing because, again, this is where the fun is.
Yes, no doubt. And I think coaches will tell you that. Even coaches that aren't thrilled with where they're seated will tell you that it's a special time of year. Bob Bizzuto, chairman of the WPIAL Baseball Steering Committee, kind enough to join us as we continue on the 2026 WPIAL Baseball Playoff Pairing Show. Let's go to Class 4A now. Indiana, Elizabeth Forward, Valley garner the byes. What a run that the Little Indians have been on. Back-to-back WPIAL championship game appearances, losing in 24, winning in 25. Back-to-back PIAA championships, losing in 24, winning in 25, and now they are the number 1 seed coming into this 4A tournament with Elizabeth Forward and Valley getting the byes, and a pretty good section 1. With Beaver, Hopewell, Blackhawk. Had a chance to see Hopewell and Blackhawk earlier this week. Some pretty good ball played there, and those teams are going to be fighting from the get-go. No byes for any teams from Section 1.
Absolutely. You take a look at this, and as I summarize for our committee and everything else, and you take a look at, Valley tie with Indiana.
Yep.
It kind of tells you the strength. I think this with 4A was probably, as I made some comments to some of our committee members, I thought this was the deepest of all. I mean, in terms of competition, in terms of challenging, because if you take a look at it, you can go through the top 9, and on any given day.
Agreed.
And you hit the nose right on the head there when you talked about Blackhawk. Blackhawk going into this week, was challenging, for the lead. And they fell a little bit behind this week, and we did drop them to 9. But if you take a look at that, the quarterfinal matchups are very, very good.
Yeah.
And you're going to have 1 versus 1 if coaches choose to do that. And as you know, there's have been decisions before that coaches make. Sometimes that first game in the quarterfinal game, they decide not to throw their number 1 in the semifinals and qualifying for states and all the rest of the stuff. The bottom line is it makes things interesting.
Yeah.
So you take a look at Valley. That's why, Valley beat Indiana the first time they played. So we went ahead in terms of doing seeding. We gave some love to Valley because they had a good season. So you take a look at Indiana, Elizabeth Forward, Valley, Beaver, Bell Vernon, Hopewell, West Mifflin. I mean, it's tough.
Yep.
This is a really good classification. I can't wait till we start playing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see what looks on paper, what we see, And then again, when you get into the postseason, people step up. Indiana did that a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And they've continued that tradition. So this is a good one.
I agree with you that it's deep in 4A. And if you would have done this process at mid-season and came out with a 4A bracket, you may have had Knock and Blackhawk in the top 3 getting first-round buys, and here they are now, 2 very quality teams facing each other in the 8-9 matchup. So that just is a testament to the depth that there is in Class 4A baseball.
Absolutely. And it wouldn't surprise us. Again, you're not going to hear the word upset come from me. I mean, in that quarterfinal game, Indiana's going to have a game no matter who they play.
Yep, agree.
And we've talked about this over the years that, the tradition, the teams that we're talking about year in and year out are competing. And so, again, we're really looking forward, very excited for this tournament to get started.
Players come, players go, but some programs just continue to win. It's amazing, and I think it's a testament to the coaches, how valuable high school coaches are at this level. Let's go to Class 3A now. Some interesting decisions here. Avonworth gets the number 1 seed, and a big section series sweep over another very good team, South Park. In that section's final section series was a big part. And plus the Lopes, again, haven't lost to a 3A team all year, played a challenging schedule. They earned that top chair. I had Avonworth 1, but after that, I had coaches checking in with me, asking me what I thought. And I thought that the seedings between 2 and 7 were really, really tough. I mean, it could have gone either way. You guys decided to go Seton LaSalle 2, Elwood City 3, Freeport 4, South Park 5, Mohawk 6, and then Riverside and Mount Pleasant rounding out the top 8. Did you guys struggle as much as I did, especially after the Avonworth decision?
Absolutely. After Avonworth, and that was pretty easy, I believe, based on everything that you've said. The bottom line, it was very, very difficult. We take a look at strength of schedule, and one of the things that you see, and then I will tell you as a chairman, that I look at scores, I look at schedules, I take a look at from, day 1 of the first series, day 2, where they're at. You kind of get some feel of how their season really, some of the challenges that they had. And you had some teams that played other really good teams and either won or they lost, but at least they played really good teams.
They challenged themselves.
Yes. And I've said this before, and I'm okay with anyone that wants to disagree with me, and I told the committee today, we have to understand that there are some sections that are very good and maybe stronger than some others. But in some cases, they may have 10 games in their league that they must play. But those other 10 games are the school's choice. And based on that, we as a committee do not hurt teams because they lost to a team that's really, really good in another division, whether it's a class down, 2 classes down, 2 classes up. They kind of get, I don't want to say bonus points, but we take that into effect.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the bottom line here is we took a look at schedules, and some teams kind of pushed their way up the line and others dropped a little bit. But again, you take a look at the quarterfinal matchup, you take a look at, Avonworth and Mount Pleasant or Charleroi. But you take a look in the next round. If you go by, Freeport, Quaker Valley, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, Quaker Valley had that unexpected run last year.
Yes. And you take a look at South Park, and there can be an argument South Park should be higher. The bottom line is I would simply say we have really 7 to 8 outstanding teams.
Yes.
And if you take a look at Elwood City played up. They played Peters. They did a good job there. There were a lot of different things. We took a look at their schedule, but they tied with Mohawk. And if they're fortunate to come on, you'll find that Elwood City and Mohawk are going to play each other. So someone in that division, if they win, are going to come up to the semifinals. So again, trying to balance those quads a little bit too.
It's a traditionally strong section, that northern section, section 1 in 3A. You had co-champions. That, of course, we've seen Riverside come out of that section for several times this decade to go on to win gold. They're the 7th seed, the Panthers, defending champs. Riverside, the number 3 seed, and you just sung their praises, and rightly so. I was curious about the Mohawk Elwood City split. They end up as co-champs, and sometimes we saw in Indiana and Valley. You have Indiana 1, Valley 3. Okay, really 2-3, you can flip a coin. But here's a pretty sizable difference with 3 and 6. Any insight there?
They're in the same quad. They're going to come out if they're that strong. They're going to come out in the quarters and they'll get a chance to play it on the field. We take a look at their strength of schedule, who they're playing. Take a look at scores. Take a look at dates. Okay, making sure that if you play on Monday and you're supposed to come back on Tuesday or Wednesday, the bottom line is, what are those results of the game?
Right.
And we gave the nod to Elwood City, but again, they're in the same quad. So to be honest with you, I don't think anybody wants to, Elwood City is going to have a game against Ligonier Valley, and Mohawk is definitely going to have a contest against Burrell. Burrell has been a traditional WPIAL power in past years. They have a very, very good tradition. So again, I don't think it's easy. And we didn't even really talk a great deal about Riverside. And you look at Riverside and their tradition over the past, many, many years and everything else. If you're seeing LaSalle or South Allegheny, if Riverside comes out and beats Shadyside Academy, I don't think too many people want to play for Riverside. And that's why we gave them, the nod for the 7th seed.
You look at this. We've just talked about the 3 highest classification tournaments in this. The only bad thing, we talked about the condensing the schedule for pitching reasons. The only bad thing is if you're a fan, you'd love to see this tournament play out over a month with legitimate series because of how many great matchups and how many, it speaks to the quality of baseball that this area plays when we're going from one tournament to the other and we're saying the same things about depth and quality and look at this matchup. And as a fan, you'd love to see it play out over like a month so you can go watch some of these great games.
Absolutely. And just, again, you take a look at the NCAA, they're going to expand their tournament.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's very, very popular and it's very competitive. This is what we have here.
Here's why, Uncle Bobby. Here's why.
Yes, I know. But it is something, when you take a look at, you're talking about 78 teams that are in here, and you're talking about the NCAA going the same amount. I mean, the interest, the excitement. Can you imagine if we didn't have, like, for example, some deadlines, with PIAA, and you played this out in a best-of-3 series and you were able to have more time? I mean, it's fantastic. And baseball is very, very popular. And again, you're taking a look at it. This is a very, very tough time. You got graduations that will be in our tournament. You have proms that are in our tournament. You have AP testing. There's so many things going on at this time of the year. and the excitement is really, really great. So,
and what else do you have? You always mention it when you make that list. What other school events are going on?
school picnics.
No. What else?
What you tell me?
The honors thing. What do you?
Oh yeah, we definitely have awards nights. So
What do you call it? Baccalaureate or something?
oh yeah, baccalaureate.
Baccalaureate.
Yeah, we have that, and there are sometimes we have to make some choices here. So
It shows you what kind of student I am that I had no idea what that even meant. So I mean, there you go.
but it's a great time, and we're only talking about one sport. You know, you're talking about softball. We've got lacrosse going on.
Yep.
You know, volleyball, tennis. I mean, it's great. High school sports is great.
I tip my cap to the senior athletes, student athletes at this time of year because their heads got to be spinning. They got all these school events that you just mentioned. If their athletic team is successful, they're worried about playoffs. They're worried about college right around the corner. It's amazing, and yet you see these seniors shine. Kudos to them. It's awesome.
I also should say final exams, Don, too. I mean, you get some finals and people are going through. So again, there's a lot of great things that are going on, and our kids have to juggle a lot of different things.
All right, enough of this academic talk. I'm going to break out into a rash or something. So we'll move on to Class 2A tournament. Fort Cherry, the number 1 seed. Neshannock 2, Southside 3. Fort Cherry won their section. Southside won theirs. Neshannock co-champs. They all those 3 get first round byes. How much of a discussion was it for the top seed in this tournament?
I Fort Cherry and Neshannock, and you taking a look at it, I think the biggest thing that we needed to do was to separate some of these teams. And we did that with Fort Cherry and Neshannock, Southside Beaver, and Riverview, along with Olsh and Laurel. And as you can see, when you take a look at, 1 through 6, we were able to go ahead and pretty much do that. And I should say that the number 7 seed, when you take a look at Apollo Ridge, and if you take a look at Apollo Ridge's schedule, you will see they split with Southside Beaver. They played 2 close games with Riverview. They played at a 6-5 game against Olsh.
Right.
So you take a look at this strength of schedule, they were kind of rewarded that particular way with the 7 seed, and they'll give the opportunity should they beat Shenango, which again traditionally has been in our tournament and been successful. Whoever comes out against Neshannock, it's not an easy game.
No.
And that's what we attempted to do in terms of the quads, to get some, kind of some balance throughout that. I think the toughest in any tournament is that 8-9 slot. Okay, because you got the number 1 seed. But again, with the way we do our tournament, whoever wins that game, for example, going against Fort Cherry, they have the opportunity to throw their number 1 on next Monday,
right,
18th. So again, we'll see a difference is coming back on Wednesday, on the 20th.
Was that what you just explained in the separation, which makes sense? Was that part of the reason why you went with Southside in the number 3 spot and had Laurel on the left side of the bracket? Okay.
Yes, we did the same thing with Riverview and Olsh.
Right.
Riverview won game 1 and lost game 2. And I know that, again, taking a look at it, they have some good pitching, okay, especially on day 1. They've got we're talking about Riverview. And again, it goes strength of schedule. Yeah. It's, again, some really good wins. And there were some teams that are seated high in the tournament that also had a couple not so good losses.
Yeah.
And so you take a look at it, you don't dwell on it, but you're trying to continue to have balance. So I would tell all teams, don't worry about where you're seated. The bottom line is play one game at a time. You have opportunity, make the best of it. But I think the quads are very, very competitive.
Yep. All right. Three buys for Cherry, Neshannock, and Southside. Southside, same situation as that Section 1 up in 5A. Their Section 3 and 2A came down to the final week. Southside swept Brentwood while Riverview and Osh were splitting. That determined the giving the Rams the outright championship. All right, one more to talk about. It's Class A, and not much shock. I think the four teams that earned the top four seeds earned them, and rightly so. They will get first round buys. Eden Christian Academy at number 1. Greensburg Central Catholic now with Freeport losing, the only undefeated team in the district. Sarah Catholic, defending champs, at number 3. The only team that didn't win the section that gets a bye, and rightly so. And Western Beaver, a strong year for the Golden Beavers. They are the 4th seed. 4 first-round matchups will lead into those 4 playing in quarterfinal games Monday to Monday. What jumped out? Anything? This kind of, to me, was one of the easier brackets to do.
Yeah, I felt that it was easy. The top 4 seeds were very easy. They're all separated.
Right.
Probably the favorites in there. I know that I spent some time taking a look at Jefferson, Morgan, and Carmichael's, in terms of the 7-8 slot. But again, at the end of the day, whether you're going to come out and play Greensburg Central or Eden, again, you're 1 and 2. It's kind of a jump ball here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, your top 4 seeds separated themselves from the others. And I think that if it all plays out like the committee feels, it'll be a tremendous semifinals.
Yep.
But again, you have tradition teams, Carmichael's, over the years, and this may not have been, the strongest of Carmichael's teams, but the bottom line is they have that tradition.
Yeah, runners up a year ago.
Yes. So again, it's who gets hot. Hopewell, I think last year, they got hot, and you can go down through the years of teams getting hot at the right time. Seneca Valley did that a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Again, it's timing. Who's going to hit their stride at the right time, and it's go time now. So I think it's going to be a great tournament.
Yep.
But this one was. I think these 4 teams separated themselves.
Yep. First round games Monday and Tuesday of next week, and then the real fun begins, quarterfinals and semifinals the following week, Monday into Wednesday, Tuesday into Thursday. I'm curious, Bob. You talked about teams getting hot, teams making runs. As a committee chair, when you see a championship matchup at Wild Things Park, say a number 6 against a number 8, 2 teams that obviously weren't at the very tip of your list of contenders in that particular classification. Are you disappointed in that we should have had these teams better, or are you very confident in how this has played out to the point that you've just talked about how deep some of these tournaments are, and that, hey, if a team gets hot, the seeding is really not that important?
It's not. A seeding number is a number. I think when it comes down to it, some people, as I talked about butterflies before, some people turn it on. And they turn it on at the right time. They do get hot. And at the end of the day, guess what? That's what it's about. And maybe they're reaching their potential at that time, and they didn't do it during the regular season, but it's go time. And again, as I said before, I'm not going to use the word upset. I'm not surprised, because I think baseball overall, normally you'll take a look at it. If you look at all the materials that I have, and as I study and the committee studies our teams, the bottom line is sometimes you'll see in game 2 okay, of a series is where teams will start to separate. But you'll definitely see it in day 3.
Yeah.
So again, if you're strong, you may have 2 really good starters where one person only has 1. And if you can get by that day, now you're at the advantage. It didn't surprise me last year when Hempfield beat North Allegheny. Okay, it didn't surprise me. Timmy Buzzard does an awesome job. Okay, so again, those numbers are really, at this time, it's really for the media because, again, the media will stress and say, number 1 seed, number 2 seed. We don't go by that. We know the capability of all of our teams, okay, throughout this. So I'm not surprised. And I've coached baseball and many sports, throughout my life. And the bottom line is there are no upsets.
Is it true you're speaking kindly of Coach Buzzard now because you used to beat him up for his lunch money when you guys were younger?
No. I'm much, much older than he. Timmy played with my oldest son. So,
Okay.
But no, the bottom line is Timmy does an awesome job, like many of these coaches that you talked about in in your show.
I agree. I just aged him 20 years. Sorry about that, Timmy. So one more thing, and I greatly appreciate the time you've given us. You're not always available for the show. You're always invited, but not always available. So we appreciate great insight and honesty. I see a lot of your cohorts getting to the point of hanging it up, retiring. I know that I'm not asking you that question because I know you're a machine and you're going to keep on going because you love what you're doing. But you have talked for probably over a decade with me about, and we sort of touched on it here, the great success of the section series in the regular season, and how you would love to see some sort of series, whether it's the championship, whether it's the semifinals, whatever round, come to the District 7 playoffs. You've been carrying that torch. It still hasn't happened, and I know you continue the fight. But do you think, realistically, because there is a calendar, do you think there's a chance we will see that maybe in the near future, or has that ship kind of sailed?
No, I think it's very, very possible. And we going to have a proposal to talk to Vince, and Vince is very open, and Brian Geyer is the associate executive director. He was the AD at Peters. They see the interest. The bottom line is, I think what we need to do is really take a look at it. What we're kind of, handcuffed a little bit is really when you do things, you got to do things in cycles.
Right.
PIAA does everything in 2-year cycles. So, as we get prepared and we meet in July for the next 2-year cycle, as we do in the sections and everything else, I want to expand that series. And again, I want to talk to our committee. I want to talk to Vince and Brian a lot more about this. But we're going to have a proposal because I know our baseball committee would like to do this. And as we've talked about before, and I think maybe other sports want it, but baseball is a different animal. And what I mean that is with pitching that goes on, you may have the best pitcher, and you can go with some of the old names, Antonelli and Close, that were dominant pitchers through the WPIAL, who were able to go ahead and throw every game for their team in the postseason. When you go ahead and you change things up in series or a double elimination tournament or whatever, we're getting more fields that are, playoff capable, that can deal with it. If you notice on Monday and Tuesday, and they're all turf fields, at least turf infields, in order to be able to play, et cetera. We're going to come back and do some grass fields, in the semifinal for mostly. Not all of them, because we did use a couple because of location and everything. But you got, like Boyce Park, Boyce Mayview, I should say. The bottom line is they're all quality fields. So 10 years ago, we didn't have that. We were going to the, some local colleges and so forth that were able to go ahead and do this. Now we're getting more and more fields that are being able to host games.
Sure.
So I think as we expand in that area, it opens up, including lights. When you add lights to it, you're adding interest. People are coming to games, and you're able to play at 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night and doing double headers or triple headers. Because we don't want to play at 2 o'clock. We want to play when we can get the students out there. We can
Mom and Dad can get there. Yeah.
Dads. Yes.
Yep.
To go ahead to do that. So I think, that's not out of the question. And I know Vince and Brian are very, very open to make all of our sports better and give our kids a great opportunity to shine.
Yeah, the one time, and I've been a fan of it, and so I've brought it up to a lot of coaches, and most coaches are salivating at the possibility of having at least one round be a best of 3 series. And because of the great success of the section series during the regular season, I think it has weaned teams to get pitching depth, to make sure they have pitching depth. And so, people say, well, that's great for the Pine Richlands and the North Alleghenies, but what about the small schools? Well, again, if you have notions of winning a championship, then you need 3, 4, 5 kids who you can rely on, because hey, injuries happen too. So you can't just have 1 or 2 arms and say, oh, we have a shot. No, so whether it's the quarterfinals or ideally, I think the semifinals being a best of 3. And then again, because you're locked in with weather and the PIAA playoffs, when they start, that final week has become a traditional, great event at EQT Park, and then Lilly Field for softball, the championships right after Memorial Day. But that week before, if you could somehow make it happen, a best of 3 series in the semifinals, I think that would be tremendous.
Yeah, and we're going to have a proposal, and I would tell all coaches and so forth, really, you take a look at coaching education. Number one reason why coaches coach in terms of the control is player development. We talk about developing kids physically, psychologically, and socially. And that's the reason why many of the coaches that you talk about are outstanding teachers of sports skills.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when you're developing, 1, 2, and 3 pitchers, et cetera, and you're developing your team, you're given more opportunity. And I think that's where we need to continue to grow. And as we start going, take a look at softball, for example. Even though there are no pitching restrictions, if pitchers could not pitch within 48 hours and you're playing on Monday and Tuesday, look how the game would change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're forced to develop players. And I think
Right.
that's what you're talking about. But that's one of the things that coaches do control. They control that they're teaching, how they're going about their business. And again, it's a great challenge. And I think most coaches are up to that. So
I agree.
We're going to continue to explore that. And as far as me concerned, I love what I do. It's only been 47 years. So I look forward to the number 48 coming up here. But I'm really excited about this tournament.
I got to get my little friend to give you a salute here. Where is it? Okay, here we go. This is a salute to the successful career of Bob Bizzuto. There it is. There he is. There you look at that.
Yeah.
He only comes out every once in a while, pal. So
thank you, Don. Let me just tell you, and I've told you this on the phone and everything else. I tease you by being the Vin Scully of high school sports. But what you do is so important to our young people and to our staffs, coaches, parents. You do a tremendous job, and I really do appreciate. We've been friends for many, many years, but the bottom line is what you do is fantastic, and I just would like to. I don't have one of those things that you have there. There you go. Look at yourself.
This is for me. Okay, thank you very much.
It is. No, I really, truly mean that, Don. Thank you. Thank you and your staff for everything that you guys do.
Greatly appreciated. And we couldn't do it without the support of athletic directors and coaches who go out of their way to cooperate with us to make our jobs easier. Because, again, we're doing it for the kids. So if we're all doing it for the kids, then everything meshes nicely and it really gels and comes together. Can't wait. I'm so fired up for next week, the start of the 2026 WPIAL Baseball Playoffs. I'm sure I will see you along the way, my friend.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Stay safe.
Thanks for joining us, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
He's a busy guy, Bob Bizzuto. We thank him for jumping on board here and joining us as we wrap things up. We want to thank our sponsors, our good friends at Edgar Snyder and Associates. We thank our producer, Chris Lackner. Thanks to Coach Bizzuto and I myself. Thank you. Don Rebel says thank you for joining us. The 2026 WPIAL Baseball Playoffs about to begin here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.